Hello, good evening, and welcome to my webinar about AI in testing. I would like to talk about hype, hope, or help with testing if you are using AI. This is a short webinar where I will share my ideas and opinions about this topic. So I hope you are excited about the AI as many other people, but let me now start with very quick introduction and then with the webinar itself. Hopefully some people will join us, but I will not wait. And I will use this time for the quick introduction. So maybe you can use chat to share also some short intro about you. If you don't want to disclose too much, just share where are you joining from. But let's start. My name is Marcel. I am based in Prague in Czech Republic, and last 20 years I am working on software testing topics. I started as a manual tester, did a lot of test automation in the past, then managed various teams, then found one company probably 12 years ago, which name is Tesena. And 3 years ago, I founded startup Wopee, where we are working on AI-powered tool to make test automation of web apps easier and empower testers with a tool which could help them heavily to get rid of tedious work of test automation and regression testing. But this is not the topic of today. I will use some examples and some experience from this journey, but I will focus on more, I would say, broader ideas. So AI in testing. What I would like to start with is something like I decided I will have three sections. One will be about the hype, then hope and help. So let's start with the hype. And let me start with a short story. You probably know the companies I will just list here, and they made probably one or maybe more big assumptions or mistakes because they didn't believe that something could change, and they were not able to learn quickly enough to adapt. One was Blockbuster, and I don't know whether you know it here in Europe because it's not so well known, but the company had 9,000 stores and more than 80,000 employees, and that they were just renting videotapes. Similar company, probably more known, was Nokia, and another one was Kodak. These companies were unable to innovate, and some other companies were able to basically compete with them and win the market. And this kind of FOMO or fear is coming also from the AI ideas or AI initiatives. I'll be talking about that later. But before that, let me show you that these stories are not only in like general business. You can find similar parallels also in a testing. Maybe it's not so strong, but if you would look at maybe what you might know is ALM or the test management tools, you probably, if you are in testing more than 20 years or at least 15, you might remember tools like HPQC or Mercury Quality Center or Test Director, as it was originally named. But it somehow disappeared from the market. They couldn't innovate enough. Actually, someone might say they are still there, but they are not so visible anymore. And Atlassian Jira overrun them or win the market. And then later people just start complaining that maybe Jira is not good enough. So they keep adding some other tools or plugins and then continue with the new tools. Same for probably API. There is a lot of initiatives and people are still searching for best API tool, and similar for performance testing. And for UI, I basically gave up to build a slide because this is still ongoing race and a lot of people arguing which tool is the best one. But I think there is no right answer to this as for the previous ones. But we could see that companies, or actually not companies, but the tools are keep changing, and some are able to innovate quickly enough to stay longer, some are not. But this time it's different, or maybe not. I don't know. Actually, this is a big question we cannot answer until it will not happen. So all these kind of predictions I will now give you is just questioning the reality or current situation. because no one knows what will happen in a future. Just yet, but let me go further with this topic and start with the AI part of the story. So, yes, I think it was yesterday or maybe 2 days ago, uh, Nick Turley, head of Chat GPT, posted this on social network X. Quickly mention that ChatGPT has a huge dominance on the market and it's heavily growing. And a lot of people are talking about that maybe it will Google. Then there is a vibe coding, or I already heard about the vibe testing, I will mention later, that this kind of approaches might kill a lot of agencies or like web development agencies or even Figma or Canva. But why this is a topic for testing as well? I think this is also impacting testing and it's helping us to be better. And also it brings us some other motivators to consider when we are talking about the testing. So why AI in testing and why it is probably now the topic? So if you look, as I mentioned in previous slides, it's almost everywhere. Everyone is talking about that. And maybe AI is the buzzword of the decade. And it is not the era of being able to best players of chess. That's not AI anymore. And also these great machine learning algorithms are not enough because now the world of AI is talking about LLMs and agents. And you could maybe see also that almost every week there is some new AI testing tools which claim to revolutionize QA. But how and what does it really mean? And how to be able to see or recognize whether this is just another marketing magic, as we could say, or is it real? How to bet on one specific tool? That's a difficult question. But we could also see that a lot of manual testing is disappearing and replaced by automated tests already. And now another era is popping up, or the question is whether it's era, but there will be a lot of AI-driven testing. And I will explain later what does it mean and how it could look like and what are the ideas or opportunities for us to use these AI-driven algorithms in testing. But it is super important not spend too much time on something which will die very soon. And it's difficult to find the right topics to deal with. And last couple of years, maybe 5, 7, maybe even 10, a lot of companies talking about this topic, even Gartner. And you could find that Gartner start promoting this idea as autonomous testing, and this is one of my favorite slides because I'm just referring to them, how they developed the idea or opinion about this. And last couple of years, basically last 2 years, they call this AI augmented testing, and they believe it is coming to the market and becoming a big topic in the future. But it also, they also communicate this or explaining this as a pretty overhyped topic these days, which could die as it was a few years ago. I don't know whether you heard about term like AI winter, but a few years ago, there was like period where people were very skeptical about AI. And still there are some people skeptical about AI, but I think in this time it will win or it will succeed in many cases. So the hype and myths about AI testing. Let me just quickly list out a few, which basically killing the idea of AI, or it's not helping us to identify the best places to use it. One of the stupid statements I hear a lot, and people are discussing it, and even I'm allergic to discuss that AI will replace testers. There are some dramatic headlines. And I also heard that about the developers, and also heard that about designers and a lot of other roles or other professions, but I don't believe this will happen. What will happen is that our job or our activities will definitely change. But it is not about the replacement, it's more about empowering. of what we are doing, at least for next upcoming years. And there are a few more. I will just quickly list them down and maybe explain. People are overexcited about the idea. They expect that you can automate everything by just clicking one button. And we are actually working on that idea as well. But for us, it's more as a vision or something what we are trying to achieve. But we know that the goal is to maximize the amount, but there is no such a state anytime soon that you could automate everything by just one click. I'll show you the current state later by showing you some quick demo, but you still need to provide some data, at least the URL where you want to test your app or some other topics. And then there is another kind of disappointing topic, and that's people expecting that there won't be any maintenance, or the maintenance will happen without human involvement. And the other crazy expectation is that you can ask ChatGPT to test for you. And actually, I tried to do that with the agent mode, which was announced just a few weeks ago. And it's pretty interesting what it could do, but still, we are not there where we could just ask these chat tools to test for us. Maybe with a connectivity with MCP, it could do better work, but still, it's not there. But apart from this hype, I would like to also show you some old joke, which is obsolete these days. And it's pretty funny because maybe 4 years ago, it was still relevant. I don't know whether you heard that, but some people ask what is difference between AI and machine learning. And people in past say that the difference is that if it's written in Python, it's probably machine learning. And if it's written in PowerPoint, it's AI. So people were laughing on that AI buzz a few years ago, but with LLM, this joke, I think it's not so funny anymore, because now we could see that we could build our AI agents, which helps us a lot in Python or JavaScript or any other language, but many people are building a lot of interesting stuff using Python and not using only machine learning. And sometimes they are using Python to build the agents which just call some REST APIs to get the response from LLMs. So what does the AI in testing could do for us? As I said, it is not replacing us, and it is not the magic to achieve this green state, or there is no one button to make it all green. And often people are expecting that anything could be tested with AI, even without having a good test data or proper test environment. And it's very similar as for test automation. If you don't handle your test data and your test environment properly, you will not get good results. And AI will not do the magic for you. You still need to deal with the bugs and somehow prioritize and report them. Of course, this could be heavily automated, but human involvement is needed, especially for the bugs which might be a bit kind of special or very specific. And with AI, we could get rid of a lot of activities, but it's not about disappearing from the process at all. So this is something what people are still expecting that will happen, but it's not happening. Or let's say some of these expectations are failing because it's not possible to achieve. Sometimes yet with the AI, and sometimes it won't be available or achievable for a longer time, or maybe never. And there are some limitations as well with these AI algorithms. Often you can use LLM models without your domain knowledge for very generic cases. But if you have something specific, you need to provide the context. As I mentioned in previous slide, test data and test environments are super important to handle properly and have everything set up. In some cases, you need to be still involved, and especially for the edge cases, AI could not handle all these easily. I'm not saying it's not possible, but in many cases, you need to help with some context. People tend to say that you need to still do the exploratory testing. We actually are working now on the approach where the AI agent could do it for us. Still, it's pretty questionable, and discussing with the first early customers how much we could trust that. And that's another topic that you still need to review the results to make sure that it works as you want. And my advice would be start with some kind of parallel run. And if you believe it is good enough, then you can hand it over to the AI. I would still suggest not fully, but still some monitoring need to be there. And these tools, it's not one size fits all, especially if sometimes under the management push, we are throwing a lot of kind of AI tools on the problem, but first we need to understand the problem. So the market itself is, I would say, overhyped. And these initiatives, even there are some nice, beautiful AI algorithms, are failing, and these failures are coming because of, or are popping up because we are trying to achieve something which is not achievable yet, or we don't spend enough effort on it. So how this hope could be handled, or how to bring the benefits. So how to basically from the hype turn it into something more practical or more useful. If I would simplify, after 20 years, what we are still searching for in software testing, same goals. And let me just quickly share the goals with you, and maybe if you don't agree or if you know that there are some more, just keep commenting under the video, or if you are live in the live chat on the right side bar. So we want to be quicker. We don't want to spend too much time on testing, and a lot of people are complaining about the speed or how slow we are when we are testing. We want to make it cheaper, and we want to keep the quality under control, or ideally be able to identify what needs to be fixed to improve the quality. So if I would go a bit one level deeper, I mentioned speed, but also coverage, maintenance, consistency, and let's say also team morale, or basically being able to get rid of some tedious regression, repetitive work. We don't want to spend too much time on it. So these are the expectations or benefits or wishes where AI could help us. And going back to this autonomous testing idea or AI augmented idea, it really depends how we look at that. But basically, people expect that we will need to spend less time with testing by adding some AI into these processes. And this was pretty interesting question for me when I saw it first time from Gartner. And the last 3 years, as I said, we are focusing on that topic, how to make it autonomous or human-less testing. In my case, it's about web app testing. But in general, I asked this question around 300 people, or 200 people. And the question was, is the fully autonomous testing without any human involvement truly achievable? And I asked this question 1 year ago. And in that time, we had the ChatGPT, but there were no agents. There was a lot of pieces missing. And in that time, I've got pretty interesting answer. If I would look at the numbers, more than 50% of the people said, yes, it is possible. Some of them were slightly hesitant or skeptical about the idea, but they said it is possible for some specific use cases, for the simple use cases. But I also found out that more than 1/3 of the people almost 40% of the people replied that this is not possible. And I don't know what is the answer, and I think there is no important, it's not important to find the truth of this question, because this will change during the time, because that's similar to the question whether something could be automated. If you would ask me 20 years ago if something could be automated, or if it's efficient and if it's good idea to do so, I might tell you that it is not. But these days we could automate more than we were able to do 10 years ago. So where or how we could improve this ability, or how we could go closer or increase our automation level, and also how to focus on the benefits I was mentioning on previous slides. So these are just few ideas I am listing out here, how we could increase our test automation level. And the ultimate goal is to automate everything. And as I said, it's not possible, or not possible yet, but being able to increase the coverage, or being able to increase the speed by introducing test automation would help us to achieve the autonomous testing. So if we would consider visual testing, this is something which helps, especially in test automation, to increase coverage, because we often count on some asserts, but these asserts have no eyes, so sometimes some bugs might escape. And these asserts could be AI powered. I don't have time to go into all these details, so I will just quickly explain what are the other opportunities. So apart from the AI asserts, you can also use LLM to help you to improve your bug reporting, or identify some deviations in your test reports, or some trends you cannot easily spot. We can use these days also LLMs to help us to create the tests. And of course, the more examples and more data relevant for that test case creation you provide, the more quality tests you will get. A pretty old idea is the self-healing, where you could improve or simplify your maintenance efforts. Then some time ago, people start working on some automated test planning and test selection, so we can easily select some test cases which should be executed first. Just recently, I think it was in November 2024, when Anthropic announced a model context protocol, which basically helps AI agents to communicate, or basically any AI tools to communicate with LLMs using some standards. And then it was followed later by Google, and they introduced agent-to-agent protocol to help agent communicate more efficiently. And this is now coming to the testing. You might see that Postman is working on many topics here. You might also see Playwright working hard on that topic. And what I could mention is that also Octomind has some MCP server to integrate their tool into Claude or ChatGPT. I don't know whether to ChatGPT, but at least to the Claude, it should work. And a lot of companies are building AI agents, not only in testing, but it is in testing as well. And I'll show you some nice examples in this topic. And if you combine all these topics together, then we are talking about autonomous testing. So how these ideas could help us, or where to start, even if you don't have any AI experience. And I have multiple ideas here. And I would like to start first with very basic definition. So what is the testing or testing process? It might be some set of activities, and you might have a completely different definition, but for me, this is a good starting point to explain something what will come after this. So if I consider testing as some test execution activities, you might miss a lot of other efforts we are spending in the testing, but many people see the testing as just test execution. So I take the app and click through that. But there is some test build or test test automation or test data creation, test design, test analysis, test planning, test reporting, test data preparation, as I mentioned. And all these topics could be automated, or at least could be simplified by using some tools. And when you are using tools, you're basically trying to automate. Or at least that's my view on the topic. So if I would take all these activities, and the structure might be different from company to company, and I would measure what is my level of test automation, I might have, or I might get something like this. And this green area is something what I'm calling autonomous testing gap, or the level of test automation I could grow each and every activity. Some of the activities or the processes might be dependent, so you cannot grow everything into max or you cannot grow one process until you don't grow another one, which might be dependent on that one. But that's not so important. Maybe what might be interesting for you is that I was measuring this and in this time it was more than 300 various. I asked more than 300 people. And I keep asking this question since Q4, basically last quarter of last year. And I've got these interesting numbers. So if you look at that, most of the companies or most of the people automate deployment. It is on pretty high level, while almost no or very little of the people use automation for test planning. So all these topics could be improved by applying some AI algorithms. And I start this last section with the question how I could apply AI into software testing. So I would start with these topics one by one, or these activities one by one, and ask myself, do I need to improve, what I need to improve, and what are the tools available? For today, I decided to just pick up I would say the most recent ideas, not covering everything. I decided just take these 3 topics where I would like to talk about automatic test case creation, AI agents, and autonomous testing, because this is something where probably I could share a lot from last 2 or 3 years. But the same could be done across the other topics. And if you would be interested, let me know. I'm running a few workshops about these topics, so we can agree on that in your organization. I'm happy to deliver to you with some specific demo or dealing with more specific tools. I decided not to bring too much into this webinar, so we could finish in 1 hour. So let me start with first topic, which is automatic test creation. For that, we were working on various prototypes, and you can find it under the Wopee.io GitHub account. It's there published, and most of them were around Playwright, but we had also something for Robot Framework and Cypress, and Robot Framework, Cypress, and Playwright were the top 3 tools we were using for the prototype. And I would like to show you one of the approach how I built the tool to automatically create the test cases or tests. So there were some inputs and outputs from each and every step, and you could see here that I had 4 steps, even they are not presented here yet. So first what I did, I crawled the app just by taking the URL, and I collect HTML files and screenshots. Then from that, I generate user stories. After user stories, I created the test cases. So I was covering the user stories by specific tests, and then I generate the code. My experience from this is that it's super interesting how quickly you can run, or how quickly you can get some raw draft, but it need to be always shaped by human. Still, what I try to do as well, but it's not a part of this prototype, is that I provide some nice examples from my previous test or my other user stories. And in that case, the outputs were better, but still I need to review them. So this is one simple example, and you can find it. I'll share with you the link to the repository so you can play with it later. You need to have a OpenAI API key, and then you can run the crawler against your app if it's available from your machine, but it should be. And then you use these screenshots to generate the user stories in this format. And from that, I generate the test cases. And if you would like to try that, use this simple npm package. You just install it, set up your OpenAI API key, and then you run simple 4 commands. As I mentioned it in previously, there were 4 steps. So for each and every step, I have these 4 commands. After each command, you review the output because this is also input to the next step, and then you run another one. You can chain these and run it at once, but then you cannot review the outputs. AI agents, that's another topic where I feel like there is a lot of opportunities these days. And instead of explaining all the details, I would like to show you some simple demo to explain how it works. So what you need to do, and actually this is something what is built with Marcel AI. It's a simple framework, open source framework, and you can build something similar by yourself. You just need to define the system prompt to explain the agent how it should behave. And then you prepare the user prompt, which is basically just test case. In my case, it's super simple. I'm just asking to log in. And then you provide a list of tools. In my case, I implement the tools in Playwright. So I implement the tool to open the browser and the other tools to be able to click and fill and select and then analyze the screenshot visually, and then some other reporting functions at the bottom of the code. So once you have this, you can run this agent easily. So let me continue to the next slide. So what I'm doing here now is that I am running this simple agent, and on the right side you can see that I'm getting some prompt output, and on the left side there is a recording of the browser. So the first step was it opened the browser, then it get the elements of the page, then it clicks on sign in, analyze the screenshots to validate that I'm on the proper screen, and then it gets another page elements or the elements of the page, and then it fills data into the form, and then it clicks on the button and it analyzes that the new screenshot contains the logout button. And at the end, you could see some short report. So this is example how you could build simple agent. And actually, there is not too much test automation involved, but you need to be able to write JavaScript to program it. With that idea, I felt like, wow, this is interesting. I don't need to write my tests in any page objects or anything like that. I can run LLM agent or AI agent to help me to automate and test that. But there are multiple challenges. It's pretty code heavy. We are still using coding approach, so that wouldn't help me too much. It's pretty difficult because it's running on top of LLM, so it's sometimes not easy to repeat the same tests, and I cannot easily see what happened there. And at the end, it's not easy to scale. So this is a good tool, but based on my experience, I find out that this is good to be used for test script creation, so I can use it to automate my tests. But at the end, I would like to have a Playwright code or any other code which could be repeatedly executed, and I can store the results in the traditional reporting tools. At least for now, it might change in the future. So how to do that? One of the options, I will just show you the example, is using some autonomous testing platforms, and there are a few already on the market. But let me first quickly maybe remind the original slides about the autonomous testing. So as I mentioned in my previous slides, autonomous testing is about its idea to reduce human involvement and introduce some AI algorithms. To simplify that definition, or to make it maybe more fun, I decided to bring my old slide and show you how this could look. So if the autonomous testing would be some Hoover, then we could see that sometimes the manual test. But the point of this slide is that there is no one tool which could fit all, or which could solve all the issues. But you can use various tools, and same as for cleaning. It's also valid for testing that sometimes you need to do manual testing, sometimes automation, and sometimes maybe autonomous testing will be the solution for us. But how to build these AI agents or testing agents in a way that it will be fully autonomous? So the idea is the interaction and validation need to be fully automated. And not only, you need to also deal with some test design and so on. But this is different for each and every component. So if you are testing API, we will probably use a different approach than if we test mobile or web app. And same for the interaction, for the validation, you need to adjust your approach in automation to cover the specific validation type. And this is not, how to say it, aligned. The left side does not fit to the right side, but there are just list of ideas how the validation could look like in various type of tests. So let me show you very quickly if you combine all these ideas into one, and maybe how we could solve this. And this is just one of the example how it could look like. So I would like to show you the Wopee.io agents, or the autonomous testing platform we are building. And I would start with simple example of our kind of web, or not web, but vibe testing experience. You just need to provide URL and prompt. So you could see that you don't need to write any code. We still need some prompt, but all other aspects of this AI agent is already pre-built. You don't need to anyhow use the programming language. And what we do here from this screen, you just click test now, and then you run the agent, which is able to execute the prompt, and then it generates some tests with all the steps. And not only this, you can execute this without any test automation. It's automatically converted to the automated script. And once the agent finishes, it generates playwright script. So at the end, you are getting regular playwright test automation script, and this script could be executed then as many times you want, and it will always run the same way because there is no LLM. Or it could be with LLM, but it's a matter of setup and your preference. So this is very simple demo of like no code or low code AI powered tool for test automation. Sometimes we call this as a test automation tool for manual testers. But you basically from prompt getting set of regression tests which are automatically converted to the automated scripts, and then you can run them. So chaining these agents and workflows into one, you are getting interesting tool which could help you to simplify the testing by adding some AI algorithms. Let me move on, because this was just some set of examples how you could use that, but how you could start or what to do. And I would like to mention or maybe remind this autonomous testing app. So it would be great to start identifying what you want to improve. And by that, then you can spend some time with the team, or if you want, we can help you to brainstorm the topics and identify the potential issues to deal with. And for that, there might be multiple approaches how you could use or apply AI to that. Typically, what I always suggest, or we also run for our customers, is some small pilot project or some small isolated idea where you would like to enhance your approach by adding some AI algorithms. And this could be a simple custom GPT, or it could be something like integrating or deploying your own on-premise AI model and integrating with your other tools. I remember that actually it's already years or maybe months ago, we built some BDD copilots where you could just provide the feature files and then you generate all the code on the fly. So basically, this is one of the approach is take a small scope and make sure that it works. And once it works, then scale. Another tip is that sometimes people are just crazy about adding more and more tools and searching for something with AI, but you probably need to first understand your problem before you are picking up the tool. For web app testing or UI testing, Wopee might be the right option for you. For API testing, there are some other tools like Postman or maybe I think, but I don't have personal experience. I saw some nice tool with name TestSprite. They could basically eat up your Swagger files and generate the tests. So there are some other tools for API testing, which might be AI powered. And in these days, you can do a quick research, maybe using even deep research tools to help you with that. Then it is important also not having this as some kind of side experiment. I remember these times when my boss asked me, hey, Marcel, when you have time, automate. And this was always like a hobby activity, and there was no time to do that until we didn't dedicate a specific time. And another issue with this was that many times, even we automate something, there was someone else who said, I could always do it better manually. So do whatever you want in your test automation. I will in parallel run this also manually. So it's important to integrate it into your workflow and get rid of some activities which could be replaced by these tests. Then it is important, and we also delivering this kind of activities as a part of pilot project, that you keep upskilling your team. Actually investing into the team, being able to use and understand these tools is super important. I noticed that some people even don't know where to start, and they don't have any kind of general understanding of the topics, but I think it's good to understand how this tool could help you. And I think it's easier with LLM to imagine what these tools could do, but these days it is not anymore the copy pasting to GPT. We integrate all these things into existing tools or building new tools, and it's becoming more autonomous by introducing some AI agents to help us with that. So if you need help with this upskilling, let me know. I would love to help you. And then, of course, it's good to measure and iterate over the results to make it better. So this is basically it from my 5 tips how to start. Very quickly, just maybe going back what I already said. A lot of teams fail because they expect more that this tool could does. And it's getting better. It's a brilliant idea, but it has some limitations. So be pragmatic and don't fall in love too much with these topics. It's always good to combine humans with AI. Let's experiment, try tools like Wopee or many other on the market, and understand when this could help you. And I believe this is just beginning. And to quickly summarize, I was trying to tell you something about the hype and why I think we should make sure that we understand what we are searching for and how these tools could help us. It's not magic, and it looks like it's heading to some autonomous testing phase or era. Even it won't be fully autonomous, but if you're interested in this topic, you can find a lot of articles on the internet, and I think on our blog as well, that there are multiple levels, and level 0 of autonomous testing is manual, so it's not so ultimate that everything needs to be automated, but people are searching for that. There are multiple, I would say, initiatives or ideas what we could do to automate more or increase the efficiency. In order to do so, I would suggest you to use very simple framework of autonomous testing app, try to self-assess, and then try to identify how you could improve the certain areas. If you want to do that, try to use tools like Wopee, but as I said, there are plenty of others. Keep experimenting, start small, and then scale, and enjoy your testing journey with AI. I hope you found some interesting ideas on my talk. And if you have any questions, let's just discuss now. Please paste all your questions to the right sidebar. And later, once this video will be published as a recorded, then you can keep asking the questions below the video, and I'll try to reply during next days when I see that there are some questions. And don't forget to subscribe. And if you want to continue the discussion in person or live, just reach me out via LinkedIn. Thank you very much for your time and enjoy the rest of the evening today. Bye.